What do you mean no one can lift it?
It's all bullshit.
Fucking go!
All these years of jacking off, I can't lift the goddamn hammer.
Alright boys, let me show you how it's done. Alright? No, give it green man.
Drugs?
The fuck?
Drugs?
Hey green man, where'd you get your you know what I mean? Where'd you get it from?
Poggers?
So who's the new guy?
Oh, that's Poggers, bro. Blind Fury told me to recruit some new members after the Eagle Face incident.
Yeah man, Poggers is ex-military. His body count is 58. Guy's a sadist. He stabbed a guy 16 times after he took his parking space in the garage downstairs.
Alright, well, I'm gonna go talk to him.
Whoa, Poggers means business.
But he's one of us now, right? Shouldn't be that scary. Hey little guy, what's going on?
The fuck you calling small, huh? I fucking cut you.
Whoa, Poggers!
Hey, no, man, I know you need to do that. Fucking bullshit. Alright, whoa, you hear the doorbell? Who the fuck rang the doorbell?
No one
rings the doorbell in this joint. Hey, come on, man, you know you've got a problem. Come on. Let's go.
Tony, what the fuck is that thing?
It's a money laundering bot for the pimp business, but it's only a prototype. I don't know how it got here.
Down in the real world, we're faced with ugly choices. There's only one path to peace. The Avengers' extinction.
What the fuck is that?
It's okay, boys. It's only a prototype. It's just malfunctioning. Okay, that isn't good. It's gonna work. Get it out. It's okay, boys. It's malfunctioning. I don't know what's going on.
That was dramatic.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the cinema. I'm so happy to be back because I'm working now and I'm getting less and less time to do them, but I'm not dead. I'm still here, I'm still kicking it. We're back with the MCU today. I'm sorry it's late, but we are here. Avengers, a couple of days of Ultron. Full spoilers here. If you haven't seen it, don't watch any more from here because I'm gonna basically just run through everything that happened in the film and just slowly touch on everything. So if you don't want it ruined, go out, go watch all the films in order. I got the playlist right there, so go for it, go for your life. Then come back here after you've watched it and we can talk about it. So let's go. So the film starts with a bang. The Avengers are here in Sokovia. We get some awesome looking shots. We get to see all the Avengers working in tandem. We get that shot where they're all flying sideways in one big motion. It's very, very cool. Nice opener. We get this nice banter again with Cap and Tony and the whole language thing. That takes place throughout the whole film. And Iron Man is back. After Iron Man 3, where he was like, nah, that's it, I've thrown my chest piece away and blew up all my suits. It's ignored here because this film has enough to take care of, but it's addressed in Civil War, which I appreciate. So in retrospect, it's fixed with all the films now existing. At the time, it was like, okay, I guess he's just back now. I'll elaborate on him being back more in Civil War when we get there, but he's just here. We also get the introduction of Wanda and Quicksilver. Sorry, it's Wanda and Pietro Maximoff because of rights issues with Fox and everything at the time, but now Disney owns Fox. So later, after obtaining Loki's scepter from the compound, the Avengers are hanging out, and I feel like this is the last time we got to see the original Avengers just chilling out and hanging with one another and just bouncing conversation off one another. I don't know why, but I get almost more of a kick out of that than watching the explosions and the action pieces. Just seeing them all try to lift Mjolnir, it just brings a smile to my face. But as this dinner party is happening, Ultron is born because Tony and Banner were, spoilers you know, they've created Ultron. Ultron is here, and I love this scene. This is what Ultron should have been. Just freaking terrifying. Talking about strings and now how he's free and all this stuff. I remember the trailers at the time when it was being teased and it was coming out with his narration over it. James Spader's voice is a really good choice. So Ultron was ultimately loose and the Avengers have to stop him. In trying to find Ultron, we find that Ultron is trying to go and get Vibranium, which leads us to a Wakanda teaser, and I remember everyone at the time going, Black Panther, we ain't gonna see him in this movie, but But Black Panther, Wakanda, that was awesome. The Avengers gotta take Ultron down, they get to the docks, the shipyard where they're at. Everyone's brawling, and then Wanda is showing all of our Avengers glimpses of their future or past. She's just getting in their head. It's a really nice touch too that Hawkeye doesn't get manipulated. He's like, nah, done the whole mind control thing. I don't want any more of that. I absolutely loved the one for Captain America where Peggy's there and the war is over, Steve will get to go home, you know, and that's something he's never known. Everything with Thor and Ragnarok, this was still when Thor was on the path of Thor 2 was going to be just like Thor 3. Ultimately, they seem a little bit out of nowhere and in retrospect just don't fit at all with what we got with Ragnarok. Now I have a stupid woman walking past with her dogs, making all the other dogs aggro, so there'll be a lot of barking. So I think all these flashbacks are cool except for the Black Widow one. We get a lot of sped up shots in this and it's really weird. Am I the only one in the opening compound scene where Wanda shows up for the first time trying to manipulate Strucker and Captain America? Basically, I'm talking about the scene where she just walks back and the door's shut really fast. I'm showing it now. It was... what was that? Really fast and jarring edits like that rarely work for me. Especially in horror movies. We're going to be a little bit off topic here, but when you might see something scary and the tension's rising and it could be something terrifying, proper scary here, and it just is like... what even is that? It's almost laughable. It's not scary at all. Anyway, tangent over, back to Avengers. So the Black Widow flashback, I wasn't super keen on it. I don't know how much of that they're going to take into the Black Widow film. Probably a fair amount. It was like when they were there filming those specific shots, it was like they were shooting a different movie entirely, and it's ultimately in the final cut just a bit jarring. And then we got one of the coolest scenes ever. You can't say this movie is bad for just this alone. Stark calls in Veronica and the Hulk is out of control. I was one that was watching Iron Man 3 going, is the Hulkbuster armor there somewhere? You know, he's got all of these armors. I'm sure he's built the Hulkbuster by now. And then I thought this guy was the Hulkbuster, and then I found out it was named Igor or something, and I'm like, damn. But here it is, and it's in full force. It's insane. I remember watching just losing it, especially when the Hulkbuster is just punching the hell out of him over and over and over. But he's given us the best visual gag in every film, from throwing Loki around to this. Speaking of the Hulk, I gotta touch on it because he's my favourite Avenger. This is the last time the MCU cared at all about the Hulk. I didn't know that when we seen him leaving the Quinjet at the end of the film that was the last time we were gonna see the Hulk. Most of the characters in the MCU, like Thor or Captain America, got a chance to evolve and change. And the Hulk could have easily done that too. And you might think, well, they did. He was just a green guy that smashes things, and now he's there in like a buddy cop thing with Thor, and he's there and he's got this dynamic where he might be Bruce Banner, half Hulk thing, whatever, for Professor Hulk. But that's not development. It more feels like he's been pushed back and sidelined, because for them I can see that the idea of a big green guy that smashes stuff gets old pretty quick. But I think of the stories you could be telling with Bruce Banner, and of course he wasn't going to get another movie, and they tried to trickle a movie throughout some of the later films because of Universal contractual bullshit. But I feel like everything with Bruce, and like how you see him after those events on their way to Hawkeye's farm, that this stuff could take its toll on him, and he could maybe want to just, I don't want to be a part of the Avengers anymore. Another problem I have with Hulk from like here on out is we never see him angry anymore. The original reason we saw him transform into the Hulk was because he was angry. Now it's because of the heart rate being up, and I like that in the Incredible Hulk. It kind of makes more sense, but I need just someone that's angry and wants to smash something, not Professor Hulk just kind of smashing cars and whatever later down the line. Most characters get their moment in this film, but there's never, you want to know my secret, Agent Romanoff, you want to know how I stay calm, you know, and that's my secret, I'm always angry. There's no anger here at all. The only time he is angry and he's smashing stuff properly is when Wanda's taking control of him. And even then, he's not legitimately angry, he's more acting like an ape that's just smashing stuff for the sake of smashing stuff. All he has is this fight with the Hulkbuster, which is cool, and a very forced, out of nowhere romance with Black Widow, which a lot of you will probably be aware of. Which kind of comes out of nowhere. I always thought if Black Widow was to get with anyone, it would probably be Steve. Sure, she's a spy, but kind of what they had in Winter Soldier would maybe eventuate into something, I don't know. I don't really care for romance too much in the MCU. So you know how I feel about Hulk. It's slowly just dipping off for me. But you know who got a lot of character development? Hawkeye. My guy was a punchline up until this point, and it made sense. He really was just a guy with a bow and arrow, and he had his mind controlled in the last film, so we didn't even really get to spend any time with him whatsoever. But here he steals the show. After this whole battle with the Hulkbuster and Hulk, they go to Hawkeye's farm, which I just talked about, and we see he's got a family. We see he has more than just this life in the Avengers. For the most part, because he's so grounded, they pushed him towards being the audience in this film. We're millions of miles in the sky, there's robots flying everywhere, and I have a bow and arrow. None of this makes any sense. They did a great job with him. They made him cool until he had that haircut. So then we get the highway truck fight scene when Captain America's fighting Ultron on top of the truck. Ultron was trying to put himself in a new body, and then he was going to be able to be invincible. Well, to a certain degree, if you've watched, this one. So you've got this massive set piece. At the time, they'd closed down so many highways and everything to get this scene done. And there's some brilliant practical effects and stuff, but I never notice it or think about it. I don't know if it's because the whole scene just feels like it's kind of coded in CGI, or it's because we've had great sequence after great sequence and we're slowly getting fatigued as the audience. And then you've got the scene where the truck comes flying out of the highways. I don't know why, but it's always made me laugh. Maybe because it's gone from like this crazy action to silence and this truck flying out, or it's the zoom. I don't know what it is, but the shot is hilarious. Paul Bettany is here in live action, and you might think, okay, that's cool, we've got Vision, this new character, but Paul Bettany has been there since the start in Iron Man 1. It's really cool that they have just brought the actor into the picture here and haven't gone for different casting or something like that. That way you get the exact voice. It's great. I love the colors of the costume, and then we get to see him lift Mjolnir. It's great payoff to the scene earlier. You're getting payoff for stuff that you didn't even know you were going to get payoff for. And then already he's starting to crack quips. Yes, he hates you the most. Then we have the Sokovia battle, the finale of the film. I think this is a great plan, great setup, great setting. I really enjoy this. The idea of lifting an entire city so high, or high enough to drop it and hit the whole earth like a meteor, is really cool. I don't know how the hell Ultron manufactured this like giant beam of vibranium through the whole thing, but that's movie logic. I don't need to know. Hulk goes, breaks out Black Widow. Ultimately, that wasn't really needed. It was just so Ultron could say, I have a bigger and sexier body now. But it ain't vibranium, buddy. You ain't fooling this guy. So the battle's great. Everyone gets some cool hits in. There's some great shots. And then we have an Avenger die. Pietro Maximoff gets shot to a billion pieces. And again, in retrospect, it doesn't mean too much. But at the time, it was very important because the argument was floating around constantly that no one ever dies in these movies, so that consequences and things felt quite weightless, and Marvel really needed to do that to prove that yes, people can die. Civilian casualties and all that gets addressed in the future. Again, I can't wait to get to that. It's only 2 movies away now. And then we get the scene of Wanda being so angry that using her powers, she just incinerates all the robots around her because Pietro's died. And Wanda, I don't think she ever really worked for me in this film. Not that Elizabeth Olsen was bad or anything like that, but I think at the time, being 15, all I kind of ever seen or kind of heard was the Russian accent and thought they're trying to make her really generic or something. Hawkeye then takes Pietro's body onto one of the SHIELD base. I didn't even mention the SHIELD helicarrier shows up. Nick Fury's in this film. The helicarrier is sending out bays to get people off this city before it drops. But then it's revealed that Quicksilver is still alive, but because of everything that he's done towards Hawkeye the entire film, he goes out of his way to kill him, and it's dark, I'm telling you. This is where audiences started to turn on Hawkeye because, he's just killed his second man. Okay, no, that didn't happen. He was dead. It was an outtake. Don't worry, it's fine. So it seems that I generally really enjoy this film. And I do, so what is my problem? Even amongst other people, this is generally considered the weakest of the 4 Avengers films. But I think my issue is different from everyone else's. My problem with Age of Ultron is Ultron. James Spader is really good casting, but I don't like the direction they took him in at all. They tried to humanize a robot. What makes Ultron so intimidating for me is that he isn't human. He doesn't have a personality or bias, so when he says that the Avengers are the problem, you take it as straight fact. And that's what makes it all the more concerning and scary. But this Ultron, he acts out of rage, he quips, he seems to have a lot of personality, and when you have that personality, it makes everything that he says sound like bias. That he's not thinking from a higher up perspective than everyone else, but he just thinks the Avengers should go because he says so. Which clearly makes him the villain from start to finish, where Captain America's trying to prove that, no, we need to prove that Ultron is wrong and that we're right. Well, Ultron's just clearly wrong. He's just this evil robot, not this sentient peacekeeping robot that really thinks what it's doing is correct. I don't know why they decided to humanize him. Like, he's got lips and teeth. He doesn't eat. Is it to come across as more human towards other people? Because he doesn't seem very concerned with people thinking he's human. He goes out of his way to say there is no man in charge, so I don't understand the reasoning. I'm sorry, but Tom Kane, he is my Ultron. It's just cold and calculated. Because he's so cold and not human, that's what makes him so intimidating for me. Here, take a look. I'm gonna put two scenes up, one of Tom Kane's Ultron and one of the Ultron we got. Sure, an AI can think for itself, but it doesn't mean it has personality. I suppose it could forge and pretend to have personality, but that only goes so far. As a villain, it's exactly what they were going for, but it just didn't work for me. And with a couple of other issues that the film has, ultimately, Avengers Age of Ultron is going to get an 8 out of 10 from me. It's a really good time, but it's just, I don't know, when you have the first Avengers, Infinity War and Endgame, this is the one I'm least likely to put in. So that is the last film by Joss Whedon in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I understand production was a lot harder and a lot worse on this one. Really rushing to get everything done and ideas and scripts and just everything overall was just a bit messier and much more difficult. But I can only look at the end product and what we have, and this is it. This is Avengers Age of Ultron. What did you guys think of Age of Ultron? Did you enjoy it at the time? Were you like, just nah, it doesn't even touch the first one? Or did it supersede your thoughts when you watched it? You went, nah, that is better than the first Avengers. Let me know down below what you thought. If you haven't already, consider subscribing. I've got more Marvel movies coming, more stuff all over the place. I hope you enjoyed the 3-parter I put up the other day. If you've made it all the way through to the end of the video, you're a bloody legend, and hopefully I can see you guys next time when I am tackling the last film in Phase 2, Ant-Man. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.